Tonight, the province is giving millions of dollars to community groups to support victims of domestic violence, but it won't let those groups into the classroom. That could change. Also, Kokum and her grandson are proud to graduate grade 12 together this spring in James Smith Cree Nation.
That way we don't have to plan our grad parties on different dates. We can plan ours on the same day.
Plus, there's a lot of plastic on our grocery shelves, and if University of Saskatchewan researchers have their way, this food wrap made from fava beans will replace it.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Monday, April 29th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening. We begin tonight with a look at the province's spending to address interpersonal violence. The government confirms it will provide tens of millions of dollars to organizations that provide help to those suffering from abuse. Alexander Kwan has more on what that means and the gap left behind.
This is some of the most important investment that governments can make, is partnering with our community-based organizations.
Nearly $43 million will be spent over the next 3 years in Saskatchewan. It's going to organizations that support and provide services to victims of abuse and interpersonal violence. According to Stats Canada, Saskatchewan has the highest rate of police-reported family violence of any province. The government says that's why this funding is good news.
So I think very important to look at the number and then focus on the specific work that these amazing community-based organizations do for women, children, and families across the province.
The funding is welcomed by those organizations, but they say there is still more to be done.
Interpartner violence is on the radar of this government, and I think that any time that you're on the radar of the government, it is a good thing.
I asked Premier Scott Moe why he trusts organizations enough to provide them with millions of dollars, but not enough to let them into schools and talk about sex education. Moe says those are two separate conversations.
Because parents have had questions about some of the material, not necessarily from the YWCA, that's being made available to their children in our schools without actually involving the parents.
Moe is referring to an incident in Lumsden last year. A high school student picked up graphic sex ed material after a presentation from Planned Parenthood. There was backlash. The government then banned all third parties from presenting on sex education at schools. Despite Moe saying there were no concerns about the YWCA's material, they are one of the groups banned. The YWCA has a program meant to teach kids about healthy relationships with themselves and others, one it can't currently deliver.
It is important and I would say critical, and particularly critical in working with young boys in understanding emotional literacy.
But the door is not yet shut on the YWCA. They've met with the education minister and are part of developing a framework that could allow some third-party organizations back into schools. Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Regina.
With the deadline to file taxes looming, Saskatchewan's premier says he's not worried about a potential audit from the Canada Revenue Agency. Last week, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau wished Premier Scott Moe good luck. Trudeau says the CRA will find a way to collect money owed by the province after its decision not to remit carbon tax on home heating.
They're looking at, they will ask if they can look at, the submissions that we've made. And they've also asked, as they would any other taxpayer, for us to submit, submit money that they estimate that may be owed. As we've said, we don't believe there's any dollars that are owed. We believe we've submitted the full amount. That is payable to the federal government, and we stand by that.
Moe says he does not think the CRA can recoup the money the province didn't remit. He says recent proposed legislation suggests the federal government needs to amend existing laws to do that. Sask Power continues to move closer to the development of nuclear power in the province. Today, the Crown Corporation and the Saskatchewan Research Council joined the Can Do Owners Group as members. Through this partnership, Sask Power says it will gain access to research, technical expertise, and nuclear safety. The province is in the process of evaluating building small nuclear reactors, or SMRs, by the end of the decade. The minister responsible for Sask Power, Dustin Duncan, says the deal is meant to help the Crown Corporation in its journey to nuclear power.
We are looking at deploying SMRs as a part of the baseload power demands and supply for decades to come. So this is really just a part of ensuring that we can provide that energy security for the people and the businesses that are here today and looking to be here well into the future.
The province and Sask Power have a deadline of 2029 to decide whether to pursue SMRs. If approved, the government says the reactors could be operational by the mid-2030s. London Drugs has temporarily closed down all of its stores due to a cyber attack. The company says it doesn't believe any customer or employee data was compromised. It's brought in online experts to contain and investigate the security breach. No word yet on when the stores will reopen. Pharmacists are supporting those with urgent pharmacy needs. You just need to call to arrange it. About 80 outlets across Western Canada are closed. The James Smith Cree Nation will host a special graduation ceremony this year. Jason Warwick traveled to the community and met with the two students that have this community beaming with pride.
Grade 12 student Sage Stonestand Chikosis walks through the hall of his school with his Kokum or grandmother, Brenda Connie Stonestand. But he's not giving her a tour. She's a fellow student.
Looking forward to getting into this work here.
17-year-old Sage and 64-year-old Connie are graduating together this year from Bernard Constant Community School in James Smith Cree Nation.
At first, I didn't think I was going to graduate. I didn't think I would be able to do it. But now that I am graduating with my grandson, I feel really good. I'm really, really good, and I feel proud of both him and myself that we're doing this.
I am glad that me and her are graduating like so close to each other. That way we don't have to plan our grad parties on different dates. We could plan ours on the same day.
This community has been through so much. It's been less than 2 years since the mass stabbings that left 11 people dead and 18 wounded in this area. Connie says that education is the best way to heal wounds and move forward.
Stonestand was forced to drop out to care for her mother more than 40 years ago.
I want to show the young people that it's not too late. I want them to know it's not too late to go back to school, get your education, because it's the most important thing in this world is getting your education.
They say education is a top priority in their family. Sage's mother works here at the school, and his brother and cousin attend the University of Saskatchewan. Connie and Sage both say that high school has been very difficult, but graduating together makes it all worth it.
This is my grad dress I'm going to be wearing.
Stonestand's kids gave her a new dress for the ceremony. These colors were used in ceremonies by her late husband Daniel and at the couple's wedding.
It just made me just about cry. Actually, I did cry. I hugged it and I felt really honored. That was a good subject. I like that one.
It was.
Connie says that when she and her grandson get their diplomas, Daniel's spirit will be with them.
I'm going to crash your party.
Jason Warwick, CBC News, James Smith Cree Nation.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders will be hoping all of the pre-draft work pays off at tomorrow's CFL draft. The Riders have the 3rd and 12th pick in the first round. Riders General Manager Jeremy O'Day compared preparing for the draft to cramming for a test.
You have to have, your pick 3, so you have to have 3 guys just in case, your top guy goes 1 or he goes 2. And so you really kind of focus in on that. But, after that, you really want to try to get into, really your top 12 because we have, 2 of the top 12. And so it's kind of projecting, who'd you see at 3 and who'd you see at 12. And then from there, it's, you're really going off your board and hard to project how the 8 other teams are going to pick, especially as you get later down in the rounds, from their needs and wants.
The draft begins at 9 tomorrow morning with the global draft. The main draft starts at 6 p.m. our time with the first 2 rounds streamed live by TSN. Last year, 4 draft picks cracked the Rider roster, including defensive lineman Lake Cordy Moore and defensive back Jackson Ford. Rookie camp kicks off next week on May 8 at Griffith Stadium in Saskatoon. The Saskatoon Berries have yet to throw a pitch, but the team is already finding ways to support the community. Today, the Western Canadian Baseball League team announced a partnership with Baseball Saskatoon for the upcoming season.
This new partnership will see Rally Cap divisions join the Jam fam and and adopt the new name for its program, the U9 Junior Berries and the U7 Junior Berries, which we're really excited about. All the participants in the respective zones will be wearing Berries logo on their jerseys, as we see some today. We're really excited about this program, excited to be in the community and helping young baseball players have some fun with the game that we all so much love.
The Berries will be providing uniforms for all U7 and U9 players this season. Baseball Saskatoon will also get additional funding through the Saskatoon Berries Game Day 50-50 raffle. Those contributions will go toward growing the league and providing programming for youth. The Junior Berries division starts playing this week. The Saskatoon Berries open on the road in Regina May 25th. Their home opener is May 28th. Well, another Monday in the books and another windy but nice day in Saskatoon. You know how the saying is April showers brings May flowers? Well, it looks like there's some of those showers. Better late than never in the forecast. Weather specialist Riley Lachuk will have the details after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. A 7-month-old puppy that survived a drug overdose in Regina is still waiting for a good home. The adoption rate has slowed considerably at the Humane Society, leaving some frustration among those trying to help.
Nellie's, I think, our longest-term dog on the adoption floor. She came in towards the end of February, and she came in as a result of a seize by our animal protection officers after being called by the Regina Police Service. And we don't know for sure, but the belief is that she was fed or ingested narcotics and was largely unresponsive when she came in. But fortunately, she did recover. And is a wonderful, wonderful dog. She's a good size. She's not that big. She's bouncy. She's happy. She loves to play. But she's still here, and we don't understand why. And she's a really good example of pets that should be in a home. You know, she's been spending time in offices, and we've been socializing her and teaching her, you know, lay down and shake a paw and those types of things. She's smart as a whip. But she's still here, and we don't know why, and that's really, really frustrating. She should have gone home a long time ago, and that's just far too long for a dog to be in a shelter environment, even a nice one like we're, you know, thankfully able to provide them now. But what's happening is we're not seeing the adoption rate keep up with the intake rate. So having a lot of animals come in is one thing, and that's got its challenges of its own, but when they're not moving out to make room for the ones coming in, that's where we're getting into a bit of a crisis situation. It's frustrating. I mean, we understand some of the reasons, you know, with economics and housing, and rents are going up and people are unfortunately having to move, and that's a problem, but sometimes they can't take a pet. It's a challenge, and it's disheartening some days, but we're going to keep fighting and keep looking for ways to find homes for these animals and good homes that they can stay in.
The weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac. Customer Appreciation Month is on now.
Oh, quick look at downtown Regina. It is so sunny right now, but what's to come? Our weather specialist Riley Lachuk joins me now in for Ethan Williams this week. It looks like we are finally going to get that rain that we've been hoping for.
Although if you're a fan of the sun and the warmer temps, Sam, yes, the next few days might be a bit tough on you. I did want to step back and look at the later afternoon because, yes, a little bit of everything across southern Saskatchewan today, at least, south and central, even some active weather. So, yes, this thunderstorm cell just to the west of Kindersley briefly late this afternoon had a severe thunderstorm warning on it issued by Environment Canada. If I take away the clouds and turn on the lightning tracking, yes, you can see quite a bit of lightning coming out of this little thunderstorm cell just as it crosses into Saskatchewan from Alberta, and yes, a few lightning strikes back to the north as well into the North Battleford region. By and large, though, kind of a mixed bag across the province today. So mix of sun and clouds, but yes, some of the scattered shower activity moving west to east as we got through the afternoon hours today. So more of that to come too as we get into the next few days. So temperatures today, yes, another above seasonal day for most of us across the province, getting up to 19 in Regina, both Outlook and Saskatoon at 20 degrees, and much of south and central, in fact, pushing 20 degrees through the afternoon today. A bit colder back to the east, where we did see temperatures a bit on the cooler side into Manitoba, some single-digit highs of the afternoon today. So, yes, could be cooler, but these temperatures, I'll tell you, a few degrees above normal for this time of the year. That does change as we get into the next few days. We look at some more soggy conditions moving through. So timing this out as we start your Tuesday, yes, we do start with some of that rain beginning to move up from the States. That does continue to push further to the north as we get through the afternoon. So by about the lunch hour, we're into the rain here in Regina, Saskatoon, kind of on the edge of that. And that does continue to push northward as we get through the day. On Tuesday into Wednesday, still some lingering showers, so not a total washout, but yes, periods of rain as we get through the next few days at least. Even by the time we get into Wednesday evening into Thursday, Futurecast at least wanting to indicate some of this as some wet flurries even. And yes, a lot of this will be temperature dependent as we get into the next few days. Some of those lows could be pretty close to the freezing mark overnight. So rainfall accumulation taking us out still about supper time Wednesday here. Yes, about 10 to 15 millimeters of rain through much of southern Saskatchewan, Saskatoon north into that 2 to 5 millimeter range. But yes, some much needed rain as we get through the week here. And I don't think many people are going to be complaining, aside from those that maybe work outside, about some of those showers. Winds, yes, 20 gusting 40 as we get through the day on Tuesday, but we do start to see them backing off as we get into Wednesday. So single-digit highs for both Wednesday and Thursday for Regina, and then getting back up to 17, 18 degrees by next week. Saskatoon, yes, single-digit highs again for Wednesday, Thursday. Rainy week, and we start sunshine back as we get into the later part of the weekend, Sam.
All right, thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
A historic steam locomotive built in 1930 chugged into Moose Jaw over the weekend. Thousands of people gathered to see the Empress. The train is on a special trip across North America, making 9 stops. It's to celebrate the Canadian Pacific Railway's merger with Kansas City Southern. The Empress was built at the start of the Dirty 30s by the Montreal Locomotive Works. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. Saskatoon and Regina have always had a harmless rivalry, but when it comes to live music, it's not much of a debate. Alex Soladuca has more on what goes into creating a live music scene and why some cities might be struggling a bit.
Who gets better concerts, Regina or Saskatoon? A lot of people won't hesitate to say Saskatoon, and I hate that I kind of have to agree. I took this video there last month. It was an amazing concert, full of thousands of people singing pretty much every word. One major music promoter who grew up here says that's just not something you're going to see in Regina.
Currently the production manager for Morgan Wallen and all of his touring worldwide. Regina has this attitude that they're okay with just being okay. You can complain all you want, but the fact is if you don't leave your house to go support it, those events stop coming, and that's what's happened to Regina.
In Regina's defense, we have had some great shows. But they also typically tend to be smaller, or at least rare. The last major act was Garth Brooks in 2019. Mosaic can hold 33,000 fans, but only in the summer and not during Rider Games or the Queen City X, so opportunities can be limited. And the Brandt Center next door only holds 5,800.
There's been shows, but nothing that's really like, wow, I can't believe they're coming here.
And it boils down to the fact that we just don't have enough seats in the Brandt Center for them to generate a profit.
On the other hand, Saskatoon SaskTel Center holds 12,000.
Saskatoon, like it seems every other day or every other week there's a concert announcement. Just this past week there's been 4 concert announcements, just boom, 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 and we got nothing.
And here's what Regina has in the queue.
Paw Patrol and Stars on Ice. We're bringing in a Super Bowl act, Ludacris, this year.
That last one will be here during the Queen City X, where we've recently hosted Jason Derulo and Flo Rida. For those shows, the city paid in full and hoped to recoup their money through ticket sales. For both shows, the park was at capacity, but attendance just isn't the same indoors.
It's been since pre-COVID before we've actually sold out a concert. We're not the only stadium in Canada that's struggling to get concerts. If you look at Winnipeg and you look at Calgary, they're in the same situation as us.
Sometimes it's better for us to just skip over to the next major market where you could do 2 or 3 shows rather than take a risk of losing money in smaller markets.
So is this the new normal for mid-sized cities with smaller venues? Some people think a new arena with more capacity is Regina's answer.
Then we can start attracting bigger names. We can perhaps maybe steal a couple shows from Saskatchewan.
Alex Soladuca, CBC News, Regina.
And Riley is back with one last look at your weather.
Thanks, Sam. Might be a bit wet for any outdoor concerts or activities tomorrow. Looking at your forecast across the province, Kindersley at 9, North Battleford 14 degrees. Yes, some periods of rain starting throughout the day across south and central parts of the province, but yes, some warmer temperatures still. Hudson Bay at 16, Larange at 15 degrees tomorrow. So your day planner for Regina looks like this. Starting mainly cloudy, 6 degrees first thing in the morning. Southeast winds gust of 40 as we head through the afternoon. We reach our high at noon at 10 degrees before falling back. Saskatoon starts at 5 up to 12 degrees by noon, and yes, a high of 14. Southeast winds to 40, and we see periods of rain starting on and off through central parts of the province as well.
We need it. I will not complain.
Yes.
Thanks, Riley.
No, I'm not either. You're welcome.
All right, and before we go, with plastic piling up in landfills, efforts are underway to find biodegradable solutions. Researchers at the U of S in Saskatoon are creating a new kind of food wrap from fava beans, and they invited us inside for a closer look.
It looks like synthetic packaging, but it's made of fava bean proteins. My name's Mike Nickerson from the Department of Food and Bioproduct Sciences at the University of Saskatchewan, and we're developing these biodegradable films for the food sector. There's a tremendous amount of petroleum-based saran wraps, plastic. If you go to the meat counter, you have the styrofoam base, the tray, and then there's a nice plastic wrap over top. And we're trying to reduce that going into landfills. We're moving away from those plastic-type materials in all sectors, and this is one sector that we really need to do, and this bio-based packaging will help achieve that. This packaging is biodegradable. We can take it off our meat product. We can then put it into the green bin or your garden. Because it's all food-grade materials, it's made out of proteins, it's going to degrade and add nutrients to the soil. So it's a win-win for the environment. So we're using fava bean protein, which is a great product. We're producing a lot of this on the prairies. To make these films, we take these ingredients and we formulate them into a film-forming solution, which we then cast in various molds to create that certain thickness of those films. And then after we set the films, we move over to condition them in some humidity control chambers. And then afterwards, we can pull them out and have that flexibility and strength of these films to then go into the packaging area. And one of the prototypes that we're working on is how can we enhance the shelf life of fresh meat products. So we're doing a shelf life study on fresh meat. So we have active ingredients that are really working to inhibit the growth of spoilage bacteria. And we're increasing the shelf life quite a bit in these fresh meats. So we're really excited to move on to phase 2 and proof of concept of this type of packaging.
Super interesting stuff right here in Saskatchewan. That is it for us tonight. For News Anytime, head to our website, our YouTube channel, or the CBC News app. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.